Hey YouTube, Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Cyberdark Yugioh deck profile for May 2020. It's actually been a lot longer than I thought since the last update to the Cyberdark deck profile. It's a really awesome deck focusing on Zane's more dark side of dueling. When he, lost to Aster Phoenix, he took to the Cyberdark monsters for a more powerful playstyle to win against his opponent, and a completely different playstyle than the ordinary Cyber Dragons. Cyberdarks focus on equipping different dragon monsters to the Cyberdark monsters to gain attack boosts and have a bunch of other different effects that can definitely dwindle down your opponent's life points. It's more of a control style deck, I would say, if you're looking to build something that's similar to the true Draco playstyle of, relying on heavy back row, then your monster effects to win against your opponent. This is definitely the deck for you to do so. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the monsters, for the Cyberdark monsters, I run 3 Cyberdark Edge. I'd probably say it's one of the best ones of the 3 original Cyberdark monsters. If this card is normal summon, you can target 1 level 3 or lower dragon monster in your graveyard. Equip that dragon to this card, and it gains attack equal to the original attack of the monster equipped to it by this effect. This card can attack directly. If it does, using this effect, its attack is halved during the damage calculation only. And if it would be destroyed by battle, destroy the monster equipped to it by this effect instead. So with this card, you're going to equip the different cards, including Cyberdark Claw and Cyberdark Cannon, most of the time, since they are search cards for these ones. And Cyberdark Edge is the best one for sure, because you can just swing at your opponent directly, and you can just get more and more damage to your opponent using this effect, and then just dwindle down their life points to nothing for that easy setup using this card for that normal summon each turn, just being able to equip that monster back onto your own cards again. For one of the other Cyberdarks, I also run 3 Cyberdark Horn. With this one, if it's normal summon, it has the same target a level 3 or lower dragon monster in your graveyard, and you equip it onto this card for that option. And it gains the attack just like Cyberdark Edge, sharing this effect with all of the original Cyberdark monsters. And if it attacks a defense position monster, you can inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. And once again, the protection effect from being destroyed by battle is shared with this card also. But if you're going up against a more defensive player with those type of monsters, you can obviously still swing directly against your opponent, but if you want to just swing at your opponent's own monsters, you can rely on Cyberdark Horn for that piercing battle damage if they're on the more defensive play after they get rid of your Cyberdark Edge, and you still want other options to deal damage to your opponent. With the final of the Cyberdark monsters being a Cyberdark Keel, which I also like to run 3 of, just so you'll have plenty of the normal summon options for your Cyberdark monsters, with your Cyberdark Keel, when it's normal summon, having the same equip effect for the dragon monsters and gain that attack. And if this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, inflict 300 damage to your opponent. And if this card will be destroyed by battle, you can destroy the monster equipped to it instead for that option. So just with the destruction effect, it inflicts 300 damage to your opponent. Doesn't work as well, I would say, as some of the consistency that Horn and Edge have, but still good just to have this other option. Plus, you do need Cyberdark Keel for one of our main fusion monsters, which is Cyberdark Dragon, needing all 3 for the fusion play for this card, which is why I just like those options. We don't run too many monsters in the deck, but the ones we do, these are the ones you normally want to summon out, with the other ones being more for your search power, which are the other Cyberdark monsters, including 3 Cyberdark Claw. If this card is sent to the graveyard while equipped to a monster, you can target 1 Cyberdark monster in your graveyard and add to your hand. You can only use each of the following effects of Cyberdark Claw once per turn. So if it's equipped onto the monster and it's destroyed, then you can add back one of the other ones to your hand to then normal summon next turn again and equip onto that monster altogether. And with the other effects of Cyberdark Claw, you can discard this card to add 1 Cyberdark spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Or during damage calc, if a monster equipped with this card battles, you can send 1 monster from your extra deck to the graveyard. So with the extra deck monster options, we can send cards like 5-headed dragon to then later equip onto Cyberdark Dragon, or even other cards like Elder Entity Nits for the destruction effect against your opponent. You name it, Cyberdark Claw has all that set up, plus plenty of search power for all the other different Cyberdark spell and traps for the deck, including our one go-to fusion card, which is Cyberdark Impact as well. And I also run 3 Cyberdark Cannon with this card. If this card is sent to the graveyard or equipped to a monster, you can draw one card. You can only use each of the following effects of Cyberdark Cannon once per turn. You can discard this card to add one machine Cyberdark monster from your deck to your hand. And during damage calculation, if a monster equipped with this card battles, you can send one monster from your deck to the graveyard. So with this, you can set up other dragon monsters you run in the main deck, which we only run the one other than, obviously, Cyberdark Claw, which you can still send for the setup, but having the draw power while your Cyberdark Claw has the recycle power for all your other different Cyberdark monsters is why these monsters work so well together. They were made for the specific purpose of the Cyberdark deck, just with the recycle power. And overall, if you just open up the Cyberdark Cannon, being able to discard it, searching out one of our Cyberdark monsters, normal summoning it, and then giving you the equip right then and there when this card attacks, being able to set up your other Cyberdark monsters in the graveyard as well, and having that recycle power for that scent effect also. Just remember, it has to be equipped on to get the scent effect to the graveyard, but very, very easy to do when you just have so many options for normal summoning your Cyberdark monsters out onto the field. And for the only other monster I run in the main deck, I run one Lang Ling. With this one, once per turn, you can either target one face-up monster you control, equip this card to that target, or unequip it while this card and special summon it, and its attack becomes 1,000. With this monster, equip with it, but it can make a second attack during each battle phase. Also, if the equipped monster be destroyed by battle or card effect, destroy this card instead. It's just another dragon option. It can be sent to the graveyard and set up. For the equip being another level 3 monster, just that much easier to equip onto your Cyberdark monsters, giving them the 2 attacks as well for this card. The original attack of the equipped monster with this card becomes 1,000, but that double attack is your main go-to focal point with this setup, which is why I like to run the one. You can just easily set it up in the graveyard, and that's really all you need for the plays. And going for that control basis, that's why just the majority of the deck are these Cyberdark monsters. They all work very, very well together. No hand traps or anything like that, because we do run a pretty big trap lineup, which we rely on for a lot of the defensive plays with the deck. But for the spells, I run 3 Cyberdark Inferno. This is your field spell that you rely on. Cyberdark effect monsters you control that are equipped with an equip spell cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Also, your opponent cannot target them with card effects, and you can target one Cyberdark monster you control, return it to the hand, then immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon one Cyberdark monster, and you can only use this effect of Cyberdark Inferno once per turn. If this card in its owner's control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can add one polymerization spell or fusion spell from your deck to your hand. So more or less, this card is just for the recycle power, because after your Cyberdark monster loses the equipped card that was equipped onto it and it's destroyed, you can then just return it to the hand, normal summon again, and then get the equip again onto that card also for that search. We do have a search option with this card in the deck, but it's more just for the protection effect and the fact that you can recycle your normal summons as well, the fusion spell search being just an added bonus, plus also the fact that Cyberdark Inferno is also searchable with Cyberdark Claw is an added bonus altogether. And for those fusion options we already talked about before, but I run the 1 Cyberdark Impact and also 1 Overload Fusion. You fusion summon a Machine Dark Fusion monster from your extract by banishing the fusion materials from your field or graveyard. That much easier, but Cyberdark Impact also shuffles the cards. You shuffle back your Cyberdark Horn, Edge, and also your Keel from your hand, graveyard, or anywhere on the field to the deck as fusion materials to get out your Cyberdark Dragon. We can rely on Overload Fusion to get out the bigger boss monster for the deck, which is Cyber Darkness Dragon, needing 5 Cyberdark effect monsters to make. So much easier to use your Overload Fusion for that play. And also at 1 on the ban list, but still very, very good, since the majority of this deck can rely on the fusion plays, but when you have all your cards set up, whether you discarded for the field spell or just the back row set up with your 1 Cyberdark monster on the field, the 1 card demise can easily replenish the hand power for the deck also, depending on what you use to go up against your opponent. Even late game, when you get that draw 3, you don't really have to rely on a special summon that turn. You just need that setup onto the field, which can definitely be used. And if you open up multiple monsters, most of the time the monsters you search out are ones that you can use to search out other more important cards for the deck also. And for more and more search power, going off of that same basis, I run 3 Pot of Duality, just being able to search the proper card you need for that play. Like I said, fusion and extra deck plays are nice in this deck, but there are turns you can go without those plays and just focus on the normal summon equip of those monsters, and then either swinging at your opponent's monster, inflicting piercing damage, burning them for damage, or attacking them directly. And that's also why we run the 2 Pot of Desires, because we are running multiples of all the important Cyberdark monsters. So even if we banish like 1 or 2, as long as we can have that one go-to card, like the 1 Cyberdark Edge, and our equip cards with our cards like the Field Spell, which we're also running 3 of, we can just recycle those cards and keep reusing them. So Pot of Desires just gives us that draw 2 that isn't nearly that risky in the deck, that will end up missing cards that were vital for any of our plays. And that is it for the spells. We'll now move on to the traps. Once again, only focusing on one type of monster most of the time that we summon out. I run the 3, there can only be 1. The dragons are used for equipping on and sending for different effects. The machine type monsters are the ones we get out on the field, and just 1 at a time with those cards also, but also just being able to set up with that opponent. Most of the time we don't have any more cards other than that one particular monster, but being able to control that one type only is really all we'll ever need on the field. Or if we're going to go for any other types, it'll just be that 1 fusion play that we use by banishing resources from the graveyard or shuffling them back as well. And I also like to run the small Solemn Brigade. We don't really use life points for anything in this deck, so 3 Solemn Strike, the 2 Solemn Judgment, and the 1 Solemn Warning definitely do come in handy as well. Just for the card demise play, setting up the back row, having your Cyberdark monster on the field as well. For that protection against yourself is your big play to rely on for sure. And I also run the 2 Storming Mirror Force. With all the back row you have, this can just really get rid of a lot of your opponent's extra deck monsters that they probably worked very hard to get out onto the field. And also the 2 Heavy Storm Duster. We don't run any Twin Twist or anything like that because Card of Demise can empty out our hand, but still an option there. So just the 2 Heavy Storm Duster to activate on your opponent's turn and destroy one of their cards is why I definitely do like to rely on this one for sure. And then that is it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra deck. For the Cyberdark fusion monsters, I run 1 Cyberdark Dragon, with this card having the attack gain and then just being able to equip a dragon monster from your graveyard. Once you do that setup for the 5-headed dragon, being able to equip it onto this card is especially useful for sure. And I also run 1 Cyber Darkness Dragon. It must be fusion summon. If this card is special summon, you can equip 1 dragon or machine monster from your graveyard to this card, and it gains attack equal to the original attack of that monster equipped to it by this effect. And when your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can send 1 equipped card you control to the graveyard, negate the activation, and destroy that card. So with both of these cards having the equipped dragon effect and the attack gain, one of them having the negation effect and the other one having the additional attack boost gain, depending on the option you want to go for, you definitely do have 2 power units, with Cyberdark focusing more on Keel, Edge, and Imp, while Cyberdarkness can use all the different Cyberdark monsters we run in the deck. For other fusion plays for the extra deck sends with cards like Cyberdark Claw, 1 5-headed dragon, and also with the other option we have in the deck for more dragons, you can either send the Starving Venom Fusion Dragon or use our 1 Link monster when we get to the Link monsters for the fusion of this card as well. And also having that option just for the send and equip for another strong dragon in the extra deck. For also, I run 1 Elder Entities Knits for the send effect to destroy your opponent's cards. If you want to run a second one, you can try taking out the Starving Venom Fusion Dragon for another option for that card. And for the Link monsters, I run 1 Pentastag just for the piercing option for some of the other Cyberdark monsters when you don't have Cyberdark Horn, potentially. 1 Vert Anaconda for the fusion spells that we do run. It does come in handy at times. 1 Wee Witch's Apprentice, since all these monsters that we run that we usually summon out are dark as well. 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Underclock Taker, 1 Nightmare Cerberus, and 1 Nightmare Unicorn for the Link monsters. And for the Xyz monsters, I run 1 Leviair the Sea Dragon. It doesn't happen often, but just having the level 3 monsters, it's nice to have the option for making this card. Also 1 Tornado Dragon and 1 Gaga Cowboy with the direct attack damage we can do with Cyberdark Edge. Just a little more damage more can most of the time, make that game a different change for winning or not with the plays you want to go for. And your main go-to plays are obviously the setup of your monster on the field, whether it be any of them, and then equipping on the dragon monster from your graveyard. But like I said before, one of the more funner plays, if you can set up your Cyberdark Claw for the sending of your extra deck monster to the graveyard, you can equip it onto any of the Cyberdarks. When you attack, you send that monster from your extra deck to the graveyard. So the best one being the 5-headed dragon, since it has 5,000 attack points. And then later on in the game, if you go for the fusion play, whether it would be with your Overload Fusion or your Cyberdark Impact, being able to use either of the cards to banish your Cyberdark monsters for the requirements of Overload Fusion, and getting out your Cyber Darkness Dragon, which no longer has to be in the extra monster zone as well. Then being able to equip the 5-headed dragon onto that card, having your equip for the negation, but also boosting up this card's attack by 5,000, putting it at 7,000 attack when it would attack into your opponent also. But also just being able to then go for that damage is your big play to rely on, or even just doing the same play with Cyberdark Dragon by using your Cyberdark Impact also. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Cyberdarks are definitely a really awesome deck. I was glad I was able to do another update to it altogether, and definitely recommend looking into it if you're looking for more of a control type of Yu-Gi-Oh deck to play. But until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.